4th, 2017 meeting of the Quincy Conservation Commission to order. Just to remind everyone, this is a public hearing. It is recorded. I'll set a few ground rules, so to speak. How it works is we call the projects up one at a time. They make a presentation, and then we give an opportunity for the public to speak either in favor, opposed, or just make a comment. After that, a few things can happen. We can approve the project the way it is. We can tell them to make some changes and come back. We can deny the project, or sometimes we continue it because we might not have enough information, or might want to go take a look at it again, or things like that. The things that this board has zero to do with. So if you, when you come up with any comments, just want to remind you, it's all about the environmental impact. It has nothing to do with traffic, parking, that it's too high, it's too close to your property. Those are zoning, planning, and other issues. Our main concern is the ground down. I understand there's a project that the city may be, somebody may be looking to take some houses. That has nothing to do with us. We may not even like it, but we can't vote on it. Again, we only vote on basically from the ground down. Mr. Duca told me that there's some people here for 215 Adams Street. I guess there was going to be a presentation made. There won't be a presentation, but he will speak to you out in the hallway and explain all that. They weren't on the agenda. Sorry about that, folks, but it had nothing to do with us. The first item, 136 Bayview Ave. This is continued from the December meeting. It's a notice of intent filed with Mass Department of Conservation and Recreation. Robert Gillian, Lieutenant Robert Gillian. The project will include the removal and replacement of existing boat launch and associated riprap, as well as replacement of the pier and existing floating dock and alignment of the floating dock through the installation of steel guide piles. This is land on the ocean, coastal banks, rocky intertidal shores, and land containing shellfish and subject to coastal flows. We have the
members of the commission. My name is Bob Gillen. I'm a lieutenant with the Police Marine Unit. The applicant on behalf of the city. I'm here to answer any questions you have regarding the plans in front of you. I also have the engineering firm representative, Tracy Ademski, and we're willing to entertain. We are only here to talk about the boat ramp construction, as you stated in your opening statement, and here to answer any questions.
And I can give a short presentation.
yeah, if that would be nice. I wasn't sure. I wasn't here at the last meeting. I didn't know if the presentation was already made on this continue.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be everybody's benefit.
My name is Tracy Adams. I'm a planner with Ty and Bonds. We're working with the city on this project. The notice of intent that's before you is solely for the replacement of the existing boat ramp and the realignment of the existing floating dock system that's adjacent to the boat ramp. These are just some pictures. So this is over at House Neck at the Maritime Center. These are some pictures of existing conditions of the current boat ramp. Under existing conditions, the boat ramp is in extremely poor condition. Because of the angled entry into the ocean, there is, under certain tidal conditions, it's very limited, the number and type of boats and watercraft that can use the ramp and access the water. So these are just some photos of what's going on there. As you can see, there's the existing disturbed area associated with the boat ramp, riprap on either side, and as well as the dock system. We don't intend to replace the docking system, but just realign it using the existing floats. So as we are at the ocean, we do have a number of coastal resources that we are impacting. As the chair noted in describing the project, we have approximately 7,200 square feet of work within rocky intertidal shore, approximately 80 linear feet along the coastal bank, It's just shy of 2,000 square feet of land under the ocean, just down and through here. And then 860 square feet of land subject to coastal storm flowage. But the majority of the work that's proposed is within previously disturbed resource areas. This dark gray limit depicts the current limits of the boat ramp and existing riprap. We have tried through the design process to stay within the footprint of the currently disturbed area as much as we possibly can. There are some areas that amount to approximately 9,900 square feet of riprap that will be outside of the previously disturbed areas. And that's in this hatching pattern here on either side of the boat ramp. But we need that riprap to protect the sides of the boat ramp. The ramp itself, under existing conditions, is about 20 feet wide. We're widening it to about 28 feet wide, which will allow for additional access, again, into the ocean. And the main change is that the level of entry, that the grade into the ocean is going to be at a steeper grade. It's going to be a 12% grade, so that larger trailer boats will be able to access boat to get into the water and out of the water at a greater number of tide events. With respect to the floating dock system, again, the proposed walkway is remaining approximately where it is. We are proposing a few guide piles to be inserted so that when the floats go out, they will be aligned closer and parallel to the new ramp. In order to protect aquatic species during the construction process, the majority of this will be done in the dry, so we'll be following the tidal conditions as best we can. And there will be some work that may be occurring in the wet down at the very base. And we will have a full-length turbidity curtain that will be put around the work area during the times of that the work is being proposed. I think that pretty much sums up what the proposed project is.
And just for the record, I have a printout dated today that there were no comments from the DEP on this matter. Anybody on the board have any comments, questions? Pretty familiar with the area. This time I'd open up the matter to the public comment part. If anybody would like to come and speak in favor first. Just state your
Marty
name.
Akins, 81 Mears Ave, Commodore, Quincy Yacht Club. It's about time this is going to be done. And Mr. Gillen's done a great job down there, what he had. Time has come when we have a nice ramp where the people of Quincy can come in and out, get their boat in and out without wrecking things. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
DJ Davis from Hooper Street, 35 Hooper Street. I got a couple of questions. Couple is, what's the proposal to prevent erosion? If you're gonna put this thing up off the ground a little bit, you're gonna have all these commuter boatways coming, the northeasters that come in, so we'll have a little bit of erosion going on there. The other question is this not a DPA designated port area? As a result, what will be done for any type of commercial fishing or any kind of commercial industry?
We don't have any, that's something that's
The
not jurisdiction.
DEP overlooks the.
DEP had no comments on the matter.
I'll take that question. So one, the Housing Maritime Center is not within the DPA. Two, this meeting is very specific for the boat ramp repairs only. So when we talk about the Maritime Center complex, today, the boat ramp is only allowed per DCR, MDC, Fish and Wildlife, insert your alphabet soup here, only allows officially recreational use.
Okay. DPA area, just clear that.
The Fall River Channel, it is not within
It
the
is.
DPA.
It is.
No, it's
It
not.
is. DPA area is an outline drawn up by the federal government that
Yep.
runs the entire coastline.
No.
Now, such a-
It's
No,
by the
it's not.
Massachusetts.
Chapter 91, DPA is the designated port, is within the Fall River,
Basin.
the Fall River Basin. The town river is picked up in that.
all businesses, yacht clubs,
Chapter 91 is different from DPA, did you?
they're all established in there, but they're all in the DPA area, but uninhabited land, land that hasn't been developed, now has to fall under the criteria of the Chapter 91 permit.
We are
Well,
applying
we
for Chapter
will be-
91, we have existing license for Chapter 91. Chapter 91 and DPA are very different. So the designated port is actually Weymouth's Port, Quincy, so the shipyard, the town river. That is one of 11 DPAs within the Commonwealth, but Chapter 91 does follow the coastline. We have an existing Chapter 91 license, it's referenced in the documentation, but today, this board here doesn't have that authority. You can talk and comment to the Chapter 91 application, but that's not this board's jurisdiction.
And the
Dave Slagle
DPA
still in
is,
charge of that? Dave Slagle?
I
Is it
don't know,
DP?
there's been kind of some shakeup over there. I do know him, because he helped us research the existing permit.
Well, you're going through all this work and put all this work into it. What's being done about the road? We're dealing with erosion from commuter boats.
Go ahead.
Everybody knows that. They're
Yep,
all
yep.
hitting
Let
water.
Tracy answer your question.
For erosion, and we have it up here, there are different cross-sections. I mean, there's erosion that'll happen, there's potential for erosion during construction. And what we're proposing is having a full depth turbidity curtain along the downstream edge of the work area. So to catch any sedimentation that might be happening with respect to the work area. As part of when it's completed, the ramp is going to be set with concrete plates, concrete planks, sorry. So there won't be exposed sediments to erode. And the reason for having the riprap on either side is to further prevent erosion as well as to protect the sides of.
Are those concrete planks going straight up and down? Or
So these are cross sections of what you might look at. So if you were to take, a portion of this and slice it, this is what you're looking at. So we have grout, and we'll have a crushed stone base directly under it. The precast concrete planks will be put on over that crushed stone base, and lag bolts will be put in to set those concrete planks into the ground, and then the riprap will be provided along the slopes.
At a slope?
What, excuse me?
they'll be put in a slope.
They'll be put in just on the sides to meet the grade from the ramp. So the ramp will be up a little bit, the riprap will be protecting those side slopes.
So the other thing too, just to talk about during the design phase, boating access also weighed in. We had talked about, so Margaret LaFarge, I was gonna say my comments at the end, but just to in response, support one counselor, under DCR, there's some different state agencies, and boating access and Fish and Wildlife weighed in. Boating access had talked about the weight of the plankings that we're looking at and advised that we beef them up. So that was something that, as we thought we were gonna be coming to you probably in the fall, in working with them because of the fetch in this area and the exposure that it has, we've updated the plans in that regard, so.
And that's a very good point, that they were involved in the review process and the design process, and incorporated their comments.
Anybody else more opposed or just want to make a comment? Yes, sir. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
John Galligan, 40 Crosby Street, House Neck. I do want to thank Constable Forrest and Lieutenant Gillen. I know they've worked extremely hard on putting something like this together. My only concern, I don't think it was stated of just a timeline of when something like this would happen. And I know it doesn't really have to do with the conservation part, but just from boaters in the area of when this would take place and will it interfere with boating seasons and stuff like that.
Well, yeah.
You want me to take that?
If you want to, we still have a number of permits to go through, so this is a bit of a process.
So the construction timeline is it's anticipated about 30 days. We cannot begin our construction until we have all the permits in hand. permitting is, Edgewater Drive seawall took us a year. No one ever anticipated Edgewater Drive seawall permit taking a year. So these other agencies, permitting agencies, are driving our timeline. The Lieutenant Governor has been to the site twice. She was back here in Quincy for the Republican December. We talked about it. I said, I'm really worried about the timeline and what they're going to do with these permitting agencies and being responsive. She's actively engaged and on top of these permitting agencies, so I'm hoping that we don't have this, that our permit process goes a little faster. This is a smaller project. We're just talking about the boat ramp. So with that, it will depend. We could go out to bid, we could be in construction, we could construct, a miracle might happen before voting season, during voting season, after voting season. But either way, the public's gonna understand and we're gonna have some input as to when that's gonna be. But today, it's not like, hey, permits are in hand from the Conservation Commission, let's go out to bid and construct. We still await the Chapter 91 license, the MEPA review. So it's moving, forward progress, but no, that's why the vague timeline, I guess.
Anybody else? Yes, sir. Yep.
My name is Dan Davis. I live at 155 Babcock Street. I just want clarification just in regards to just what this meeting is, just from what I understand from the letter that I read and from what I've heard here tonight. Is that this meeting here tonight is just strictly to only discuss about going forward to the environmental board for getting approved for the permit to do the boat ramp only.
Correct.
Is that correct?
And the guide piles for the floats behind the Maritime Center.
Okay. Not,
That's it. Not the PL,
We all
not the
live there.
building, not a
Not
parking
a building,
lot.
not the
so
parking.
just for the boat ramps to be accessed by the
Exactly
Quincy
what's
Police
on that
Department.
plan. No public access.
Public access.
I know people think it's the police docks. It is very clearly, it's where I pull up my boat to. It's very much public boating. All the boaters use that, the swimmers use the PL. The
Okay.
Maritime Center floats, I guess we call them to distinguish from the PL.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fine. And so we just opening up the public discussion, decide whether or not we want to go forward with a permit, not necessarily repairs, but just a permit to get it to go forward with this,
To get
So,
to the other permits.
right,
to get to the other permits.
correct.
Okay.
This is the first
Construction
step.
is the next step.
First step in a bunch of permitting that needs to be done.
We'll do a pre-construction meeting as to what to expect. Here's when we're gonna start, here's what's gonna happen, here's what to anticipate, we have to close the boat ramp, not close the boat ramp, wait till the fall, whatever that is, when we're at that milestone, that'll be another public opportunity.
That was my next question. So as far as moving forward from here, I understand you guys are the ones that forgive me for my ignorance, but this is the board that oversees permits and approvals to go forward with these projects, or is there different boards for this?
There's, again, the Chapter 91 is a separate
Which is the
permit.
Yep.
There's a few
Army
different
Corps.
permitting processes to go with anything like this. We're for the city of Quincy, that's it.
So you get a local permit
Mhm.
with the city, MEPA review is the state environmental review, Chapter 91 is another state board that's reviewed, but keep in mind, this is also state property, that the state's engaged in the design of this project. So yes, there's permits they have to issue, there's water quality certs that are a federal permit, so there are other moving pieces. I'm glad to offline walk you through that.
Okay, I'm not going to tie it up knowing what the purpose of the meeting is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes?
Diana O'Mara, at 66 Charles Street.
If you could, I can-
Sorry, apologize. Diana O'Mara, 66 Charles Street, in Housing. Just a very quick question, and maybe the wrong question. The ramp itself, and I know that's what the meeting's for, is this a regional ramp or just fixing and so making access to residents so that we can, use the boat ramp more? Or is there any, I guess in these plans, is there any chance for this to be a regional ramp?
It's a public ramp.
State-owned public ramp, state-owned, the state owns it. It's open to any member of the general public. It was
And it
opened
always
in
has been,
1997,
and it always
when the
has
state spent their money, the general public, we're not checking your address. The
So-
state
so
bought
I-
it with their money, saying this is a public boat ramp.
Right,
Yep.
okay, that's all I'm trying to.
Yep, nothing's changed.
Right, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you. It's just a little bigger. Yes, sir?
Dave McCarthy, 48 King Road, Quincy. And maybe I missed this because I couldn't hear in the back. Will the old ramp be completely torn out?
Yes.
And because it was Hurley's and a boat rental for a million years, as a lot of people know, contamination has been considered on checking anything within that ramp? I don't know who put that ramp in 30 or 40 years ago, but, it was added to cement-wise and everything else-wise. Hurley had oil, gasoline, and other things down there. We're running as a boat rental, and I just want to make sure if that's on the agenda for any contamination to be checked as the ramp gets pulled out.
Any material that's pulled out will be disposed of or recycled or reused per the state requirements. So any sampling that will be required will be done at that time.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes?
Yeah, I'm Scott Bayshard from 129 Bayview Ave. So I guess on the letter, I was a little misinterpreting the letter because
Which letter?
My letter, I think.
Yeah.
I'll make sure you have a copy.
Because I thought this was to discuss the Maritime Center as well, and it listed a link with all the Maritime Center stuff. So I guess the boat ramp I'm fine with, but when do we discuss the Maritime Center?
Right. So I just want.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
I know that.
So just to be clear, I'm sure a lot of you understand that too. Two different things happening. Here's what happened. The boat ramp, and I'm going to pass this around so that the audience sees this. I want you to see the existing conditions of what the boat ramp looks like at low tide. So I'm going to just pass these two pictures around, and I brought some as well for the members of the board. If you want to take one, pass them. So what happened when we started this, when I took office 8 years ago, we were putting our hands through the pilings. And so we said, this MOU with the state states that the state is responsible for maintenance and repairs. So that was great. I read the MOU, I called the state, I had a meeting, every level of elected officials. This is great, you're responsible for repairs. Good, subject to state budget concerns. Margaret, we have no money for you. So off the lieutenant and I go, writing grants to everybody we can ask for money. So the most important priority was, we were before this board, I think 2 years ago, for spot repairs to the ramp, the big voids in the side, as well as riprap repair. We did that. We did the piling repairs. We did that. We had put more Band-Aids. So now, we said the most important part of this project is getting the ramp usable. We cannot shut down this ramp. You'll see how bad it is in these pictures. So we came in for funding for the ramp. Subsequently, we said, listen, we've got a concrete bunker of a building that's in the velocity zone with bars in the window. Nobody would ever put a maritime center without a water view. Come on. It's in the flood zone, in the storage for the dive team and the marine unit. You don't want to, I don't know if you've been in the basement. We'll have an open house with a tour, but it's very musty and just a lot of issues. You can see the deterioration of the building, the water infiltration. The building physically has problems. The public landing, we sistered all the piles. We were putting our hands through the pilings. They weren't sistered together. The decking detached from the landing. We repaired that last year. So we just keep Band-Aid. So the complex itself we see is this. There's a building. There's a public landing. There's floats behind the Maritime Center that the boaters use. There's swimmers. There's the building itself. There's the trail parking lot. There's houses in the middle of the lot. And car parking that all the neighbors use. It's not very conducive. Lucky for me, when my boat goes in the water, my boat then goes home and I drive the boat home to the mooring. Most people want to be able to park their trailer and go for the day. That's the point. Is we have a lot of 2,250 boats in our community. 1,900 of them are at the marinas and yacht clubs. We have 350 that are registered as moored boats. So we have to accommodate them. This facility is not functioning in its existing conditions because it's deteriorated. So we decided to put a grant on. Let's look at how we can improve this. So we've been talking about this. We've been applying, and guess what? We've got funding to design this. We don't have funding to construct it. So the next step of the Maritime Center complex part of the project will be sit down with an architect, bring the stakeholder groups together, and talk about what it is we as a community, and by community, yes, House Neck, but also the city of Quincy, this is our public voting access for our community, what we want out of this facility. How do we improve it? It's an eyesore. And we've talked about improve the public space, add some green space to it, make it more comfortable of an environment, make the building more user-friendly. We use it a lot for community meetings. So that part of the project, and you'll see, I have it here in our environmental notification form, the link's online, 10%. We're just kicking that off. We're talking about it. We hope to get funding for it. We have funding now to design it. But then I still need to keep writing some grants to construct it, and what piece are we going to do? That's like a 5-year, 10-year project. So we've been fighting for funding just to get this ramp.
and some spot repairs and Band-Aids for 5 years, and now here we go. We're starting about permanent fixes. The ramp is the first piece of the puzzle. Nothing else is funded and ready to go yet. So there's no, it's the same thing. I'm not trying to be ambiguous about what the date is for that. We're not there yet. Time Bond was working last, we had a meeting the week of Christmas. We talked about engaging an architect to talk about designing it. We were getting ready to contract.
And we were there, so we're.
But we don't have the ink dry on this contractor. But that is the next step. So when we're
They've
there,
already designed something.
no, that's like,
Actually, if I can speak.
conceptual,
It's,
yes.
so, and
But I
this
guess-
is where we get tied up in
I
the
guess the
permitting
city's
process.
already paying one of the
Folks,
tenants here too.
I hate to cut you off, but again, this
Yes.
is,
So that's not tonight's meeting. I'll talk to you all you want offline about it. They have their business, they have other people in line behind us. So tonight is the ramp, and that was why I tried to break down the letter.
we try to allow a little bit, but sometimes it
I
gets.
appreciate the time. So that, I don't have any other comments to
Yeah, it's
to
just,
add.
there's not a lot you can answer because this is the first permit and there's a lot more to be done, is what everyone's saying here. Anybody else before we close the comment?
It's more of a question to the engineer on this project.
Sure.
They described doing the ramp as a realignment. So when I think realigned, you're changing angles.
The realignment is, the realignment is only for the floats.
Okay, here's my question, because I'll get to that. My concern is when you say realignment, is there going to be any degrade in the access above ground to use this ramp? I mean, it's already problematic. Or is the ramp going to stay exactly the way it is? You're going to, it's a lousy turnaround, we all know that. But is there any realignment in the angle of the ramp going to cause any degrade to the ready usable for the turnaround and the back end?
The ramp itself isn't being realigned. It is being steepened, the
That-
grade
that's-
is being
that's the
steepened.
only realignment.
That is, and when I say realignment, the only realignment, so it's, we're reconstructing
Okay,
the
so-
ramp, we're
and-
realigning the dock. So
Okay.
so the dock right now is at an angle, and that's going to be more parallel to
Okay, so you're just
the ramp. So we're,
to me, you're just repitching the
Correct,
ramp.
correct.
You're not realigning it left or right.
that is correct.
Okay. Question asked, question answered. Thank you.
Sorry, sir, Bill, you didn't catch your name.
Sam's out. ZAMZOW.
Thank you. I saw another, there you go.
My name's Dan Jacobs. I live at 16 Turner Street, which is just down the street from the ramp. My question is, this is the first meeting I've attended to this, and how wide is the ramp now? You said it earlier.
20 feet,
And how wide do you want it to be?
28.
Okay, and what's the benefit of widening it 8 feet? Why are we widening it like it is?
So bigger boats can,
Bigger boat. Does anyone have a boat here that's wider than 20 feet? Or a trailer that's wider than 20 feet? Anyone? I don't know one that exists that you can trail with a motor vehicle. Anybody? 20-foot wide trailer?
Launch and retrieval.
Anyone, any normal person here have a boat with a trailer that's wider than 20 feet? Nobody? Okay. So I assume that widening it by 8 feet is to eventually turn it into a double lane ramp in and out. Okay? The other question is, I use the ramp a lot. The angle of the ramp is not conducive to taking a boat in and out. The waves from the channel, which is completely perpendicular to the ramp, on a semi-rough day will push your boat into the trail as you're trying to take it out. So it's not very easy. Okay? So the other issue is, when you pull up with your boat, if for some reason you have to turn around, right now the docks are at an angle outward, so you're able to actually turn around, to come back in. But if you move that dock back in to straight alignment with the ramp, you're gonna lose that space. So you're gonna ground your boat. When you get the back up, when you back up with the boat, the back of the boat is square, it doesn't rotate the same to be moving forwards. People are gonna be tied up to that side of the dock, which is now closer to the boat ramp. Okay? So now you have those boats to worry about. It seems to me like down the road, if you're widening 28 feet, you're going to want a ramp, you're going to want a dock on one side, which is the one we're talking about for the alignment. The PL is going to come down, okay? There's going to be a dock on that side. So you have a dock on either side, the space is 28 feet wide, boats on both sides. If you come into that space, and the waves come in forward, and there's no protection from the outside, you're going to have a disaster there, because you're not going to be able to rotate the boat inside the space. And there's going to be boats tied to both sides. That's what I think is going to happen. So I think the fact that the docks are at an angle is beneficial to the people who are trying to get their boats on the trail while boats are tied up to the dock. So I don't necessarily see why we need to widen it to 28 feet unless the goal is to have a 2-lane ramp, which we're not really talking about here today, but I think setting it up this way to realign the docks is setting us up for this down the road, where we're gonna have a 2-lane boat ramp, we're gonna be bottlenecking ourselves inside.
We're not here for that either. We're
I
here.
know, but we're talking about the dock alignment, right?
Right, we know.
Okay.
No, we're talking about whether
Putting
this
in piles for-
environmentally fits.
Putting in dock
B,
alignment.
which,
I understand that, but I'm saying, so there's no need to, all I'm saying is that there's no need to change all the riprap to widen it 8 feet and to even adjust the dock, the way the docks are pointed, unless there's a bigger picture down the road, we're trying to get an in and out ramp and 2 docks. That's what I'm trying to understand here. There's no need to move the docks unless there's something down the road.
but
So
that
why
has
are we
nothing to
widening?
do with us.
Right, but it doesn't for the long-term project, that's all I'm saying.
Right.
So I don't feel like it's necessary to, disturb what's going on there, without the whole picture. We shouldn't be doing this project step by step by step by step. We should have a final endpoint and then be able to talk about it. It's kind of pointless to just do this little step, little step, little step, and then eventually we're gonna get to a point with no return, where this is what it's gonna be, because this is how it started all the way from the beginning. We should have what we want, and then work our way through the process there, not just come up with each little step and then get to a point.
That's not how it's done.
I'm just
I
telling
mean,
you.
there's federal, there's state,
I
there's different
understand, I'm
entities.
just saying, but
We
we
don't
don't
have
even,
any
the policy is we don't know what it's going to be like.
Those are design issues that we don't have.
Okay, that's all I have to say.
This may be all that gets done, Dan. This
Huh?
might be it. We may not get
It
money
may
for
be,
anything.
it may be, but I don't think that it is.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, I'm not a voter. What does PL mean? I've heard it several times.
Legend, right there. The PL is the public landing. Maureen, I invite you down Saturday morning. I am plunging in support of Atherton Howe PTO. I hope everybody else here will be there as well. 10 a.m. splash in. Public landing. It is
Okay.
most Saturday morning, 10 a.m. 8:30 register if you want to sign up. 29 degrees. It's going to be bomb. It's going to be
I'm
bomb.
not a beacher.
So it's where the Chowder, Maureen, this is how you know it. It's where the Chowder Fest is. The public landing is the public high,
I go to that.
Yes, you do.
Mike, I can't hear what you're saying. Jason, I can't
You
hear.
want to know where the public landing, what is the
What is a
PL?
PL? No idea what PL means.
Now you do. All right, anybody else before we move along? We have a motion, please.
Motion to close and.
We have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none? Good luck with your permitting. Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you, Margaret. Mr. Duca wants to weigh in on the next one. He's talking to some people, so we're just gonna take a couple of things out of turn. One, do I have a motion on the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes?
All in favor? Under other business, we have 1 to 5 Arlington Street.
I think you need Jay for that as well.
Jamie, okay. We have 81 Spring Street.
You need Jay for that as well.
Okay. Why don't we take a 5-minute recess?
I'm gonna have a chat with Jay.
Yeah, Jay has to be here for that, he's on the hall.
Look at a few of yours. Oh,
I just took 5 minutes if anybody wants to go to the restroom.
That's okay. My father was actually a great reporter. So usually when I get that question, I'm always like,
Erin, here? Oh, thank you. And I'm pretty sure I see you. So, first, nice to meet you. I was from Esbro. Yes, yeah. And you would be? Last name. Small school. Yeah. Oh, no,
After
I gave it a little break. 5 All right, folks, at this time, excuse me, this time I'd like to recall the meeting to order. And the next item on the agenda is public 7 Chickatobit Road, request for determination of applicability filed by Aaron Maderos. The applicant proposes to add approximately 1 foot to 2 foot of gravel to the driveway area of existing house. Also wishes to seal this area with a concrete surface. The reason for this is to keep floodwaters that reach the seawall from filling the basement of this house. Land subject to coastal flowage. Mr. Bizrush.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For the record, Steve DeRoche, the Ponce Survey Associates, 95 White Street here in the city of Quincy. I'm here with my client this evening, Aaron Maderos, who has asked us to prepare this plan you see in front of you. And the plan is for the filling in of her driveway, then a portion of her driveway, if you will, which just happens to be a bowl right now. And during a regular rainstorm or whatever, there's really no problem. It's when we have a flooding condition, northeast 70, 80-year storm that breaches the seawall on Chickatobit Road. Those floodwaters tend to come right down to her driveway and into her basement. So what she is proposing to do is she'd like to seal up her basement totally and have a small concrete stairway with a wall going down to that level and have this fill put in with a new driveway. We have an existing dry well there now in the middle of the driveway, which is going to be extended vertically up to the finished grade. Most of the work here is going to be crushed stone, which is going to mitigate somewhat the filling that we're doing in there. There's going to be a ton of plantings put around the edges of the property, which is going to absorb a lot of the water also. And again, the reason she's doing this is to make it, this was a good, this house would have been a great idea if it was somewhere else, okay? But it's where it is, and it's subject to this flooding that comes in off of the bay. The reason I made the request of determination of applicability in RDA is that we're really, really close to being 100 feet from the edge of the water at the seawall. That's basically what we'd like to do, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
What's the surface of the existing driveway?
Sorry?
What's the surface of the existing driveway?
Bituminous. Right,
Yes, Mr. Chair. I had no real comments except to point out that the engineering department, Mr. Chen, had sent a letter. I don't know if you had that before.
I don't see how.
Oh, just, I spoke to Mr. Chen. I have the greatest of confidence in Mr. DeRoche. The difference, as you know, between an RDA and a notice of intent. The notice of intent would put conditions on the property that would remain in perpetuity, so that, you know, whatever systems are in place would have to be maintained. I don't know if that's appropriate. I would leave it up to this board, and just to let you know, defer to the letter from Mr. Chen from the engineering department.
And even to put conditions on the IDA as well.
It's,
If we want to.
I defer to the board, whatever the commission decides.
Well, if I could say something, I happen to have sold the house next door. And that house was taken down and a new house was put on it. I am extremely familiar with this neighborhood. Very much so that I'm surprised I'm not looking at the other 3 houses. And that whole section, they all have the same problem. So by doing this to this house, is it gonna cause more chaos that's already unbelievable? I have been there when the tide is on the roof of the cars, parked in these garages next to the house I sold. The area needs 50 million more things than this one house. All the houses are suffering there. And by doing this, my only thoughts are, if it's going to affect the rest of the neighbors, to me, it's just not right.
I think, if I may, so I think, the property owner can only deal with the water runoff on his own property. And I believe Mr. DeRoche has addressed that issue of the stormwater on his own property. I'm sure that Chen was concerned about the whole area, but I think otherwise Chen was okay with it, except for the fact that whatever conditions, if you can condition it, I think that's the goal was to have some conditions.
I mean, if it's a coastal storm flood, it's going to affect the rest of the neighbors regardless. That's the real problem.
It's just going to add to it.
Coastal storm, it can add to a coastal storm flood, it's there.
If I may, this area that you're looking at that we want to fill, okay, we want to fill it with crushed stone, number 1, which is probably going to take up about 40%, with the voids of the capacity, all right? It's still going to leave 60%. But the amount of water you're talking about, spread over this whole area that floods, it's infinitesimal on all of the abutting properties. If it raises it 1/8 of an inch, I'd be very, very surprised, to be honest with you.
Because we would not approve a house in this neighborhood with an underground garage. No, it would be floating.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago.
I mean, I saw the photos, it's modernized, but this is obviously older houses.
So where is the new runoff going to go?
It's just going to, the area's going to flood until such time as the storm dissipates, and then the water's going to go where it normally goes anyways.
But
A lot of this is going to go into the ground.
I'm going to mention one more thing, only that I am so familiar with this. During the last coastal storm we had, these people were all removed from their house under emergency procedures. Just to let you know, and the people across the street, and the people around the corner. There's about 8 houses there, plus the one across the street. They had to be evacuated. And if you don't get your cars out of there, you lose them.
I
mean,
understand.
I walked it recently, after I saw this. I'm just saying, one drop more on a neighbor is not fair. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not going to say anymore.
Well, that's my concern. I'm not sure where the water's going to go. I see 2 retaining walls on the driveway. So are you just raising the profile of the driveway 2 more feet on the retaining walls?
We're raising the elevation of the driveway. The walls are going to stay where they are today.
So the driveway's going to be 2 feet up higher than the wall.
Correct.
So
And that will
where's
average
that water
about a
going
foot
to
and a
go?
half.
Should we direct it?
Sorry, Sid?
Where's that water going that should we be directing?
It's going to be spread around the whole neighborhood and the bay, because that's where the water's coming from.
I mean, if it's rainwater,
It's just not.
if it's rainwater, you can't damage your neighbors. But if it's a coastal storm flood, it's flooded.
Here's what it is.
Flood is-
That's,
flood is-
I mean, it's an unusual
Yeah, it's
situation.
not a rainstorm type thing. It's
Yeah, but
Where's the rainwater going to go? You're redirecting the water, period. So
with rainwater, what do you
We're
do with
not
rainwater?
redirecting anything. We're just eliminating this water coming in on our driveway. I mean, it's eventually going to come up. It's going to probably breach the top of the wall of the driveway, and it's going to go where all the other water is.
You'd have a storm.
Into the dry well?
I'm sorry?
It's a dry well?
Yes, we have a dry
It's
well
not
there.
tied into the city storm sewer system?
I'm sorry?
It's not tied into the storm sewer?
No, it's not. No. And the storm sewer system is going to be all flooded anyway.
Yeah, that's one of my points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So you can see the select has stops it.
I have a question. Will that driveway, when it's raised, act as a dam
No.
to hold the water back? Okay, otherwise you need a pipe or something under it.
Right, well, we have a dry well there.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not
that familiar with the area, unfortunately.
Adam Shore?
These locations.
Gotta take a walk down.
Yeah, I like to go to.
What I'm gonna suggest is that we allow everyone to speak.